Good morning. We are in our course selected topics in decision modeling, and the current lecture will be lecture 8, which we shall consider the probabilistic dynamic programming, right. So, probabilistic dynamic programming. Now, probabilistic dynamic programming, as you can see, is is a departure from what we are discussing so far. If you really recall, till such time the examples that we have taken, they were mostly from the deterministic dynamic programming problem. And in the beginning we said that there are two types of dynamic programming problem. One is the deterministic and the other is the probabilistic. So, what really varies in case of probabilistic dynamic programming? See, in the deterministic dynamic programming, the decision that you have taken at any point of time, the outcome of those decisions were clearly indicative. The the resulting states will be finite or known, deterministic. But in probabilistic decision situations, what really happens, we do not know what is the state that we are going to have based on the decision that we have taken at a given point of time. So, essentially from a given state we can reach not a single stage. So, it is not a state transition for a given state 1 to another state 2. From a given state 1 you can go to 2, you can go to 3, you can go to 4 also with some probability. So, please understand also another thing what makes it a little more complicated, that from state 1 if you go to state 2, from state 2 you can go to 5, 6, 7. From 3 you may actually go to, may not be 5, 6, 7, but some other. So, when that happens, you are really not very clear for a given state what is the state that we are going to reach. At evaluating the values at any given point has to consider all those future states also. It is not simply that I just consider immediate state, because which optimal will you take then, right. So, that makes it somewhat complicated, but then dynamic programming methods are available for even these complications can be very easily handled. So, instead of really going into the theory part of it, let us try to understand this with the help of a problem. So, let us see the problem. The person has rupees 1000 to invest in one of two investment options A and B in each of the following 3 years. The returns from the investment options after each year are probabilistic as outlined below. What are they? Option A, if you invest rupees 1000, after 1 year either your entire 1000 rupees will be lost, is it all right? Otherwise, you may gain another 1000 rupees. In other words, you have invested 1000 rupees, after 1 year either you may get 0 or you may get 2000 rupees. Is it all right? So, that has been written as loss of 1000 rupees or gain of 1000 rupees. The two eventualities are connected by probability values of 0.3 and 0.7. Is it all right? There is a second option also. The second option, that is option B, what really happens? You put 1000 rupees, you get back 1000 rupees. So, there is 0 gain, right. The first one is you probably, as you can understand, that risk is involved, either you lose your money or you gain 1000 rupees. But in the second you do not lose anything, either you do not gain anything, you get back your 1000 rupees or you gain. So, in some sense option B looks better because you are not going to lose anything, the chance is not there, right, whereas option A is risky. But then option A, the probability of gain is higher. There is 70% chance that you may gain and 30% that you lose all your money, whereas option B only 20% chance of gain, 80% you do not get any gain, right, but you get back your money. Now, you will be investing it thrice, not once. Had it been only once, you could simply calculate the expected value of your returns. We will come to expected value little later. If there was only 1 year, as I said, you could evaluate them by calculating 1 year returns and coming up with a decision. But what happens? You do the same thing 3 consecutive years. So, as you do the same thing 3 consecutive years, please understand one thing, you have only rupees 1000 to start with, right, and at a given point of time, one restriction has been given to make the problem slightly easier, that you can make only one investment at any stage. Even if you have, let us say 2000 rupees, suppose you put 1000 rupees in the first year, you gain another 1000 rupees and you have 2000 rupees, it does not mean next year you can invest the entire 2000 rupees, no. At any given year you can invest only one investment or you may not invest also, is all right. So, either you have only 3 options at any given year, either you invest 1000 in A or you invest 1000 in B or you do not invest, is all right. These are the only 3 options at any given year, right. So, how will you invest your initial rupees 1000 for the first year and subsequently from the returns for the next 2 years, is it all right, for the entire 3 years, so that at the end of 3 years you have the maximum gain. So, this is the problem. Now, what are the stages? As you can clearly see that there are 3 stages: first year investments, second year investments and the third year investments. What are the states? The amount of funds available for the rest of the investment options. So, at the very beginning in the S1 you have 1000 rupees. The S2 and S3 will depend on returns obtained which are probabilistic. You may not have 1000 rupees, right, you have 1000, you may gain or you may not gain, is it all right. So, depending on whatever it may be, S2 and S3 values will be different than 1000, right, or it could be 1000 also if you have a no gain situation, but then it could be different, is it all right. So, these are the states. And what are your decisions, right? The decisions again at any year, either you do not invest. So, x1 could be 0 or x1 could be A, that is putting 1000 rupees in A, because as I said you can put only 1000 rupees at a given point of time, or it could be B, let us say another, not another, or 1000 rupees, and the same decisions you can take for all the 3 years provided you have money, right. If you have money, you can have the other 2 options. If you do not have money, obviously you have only one choice, that do not invest. Having said that, now let us look at what are the investment options and what could be our optimal returns. So, assuming that just simple calculation, if we put for only 1 year to make it understand it very simply, this kind of chart will return. The option A, loss of rupees 1000, gain of rupees 1000, probabilities 0.3 and 0.7. Option B, it could be 0 gain or gain of rupees 1000 with probabilities 0.8 and 0.2. So, in value terms return after 1 year could be for amount, sorry, not 10,000, 1,000, it should be 0 or 2,000 and 1,000 or 2,000. So, optimal return from future investments in subsequent stages. See, look here, these 0 or these 2000 or these 1000 you will be putting in the subsequent stages, because we are considering only first year. So, remaining 2 years, let us say the optimal value that we will get from those subsequent stages is f star n plus 1 with that 0 that you have, right. So, here it should be then f star n plus 1 2000, f star n plus 1 1000, f star n plus 1 2000. Because please recall what I said just few minutes ago, that if you invest for only 1 year, then you can simply take these 0 and 2000 and find an expected value and come out with your final return. But exactly that is what is not happening. What is happening? These 0 you will be putting in the final, or these 2000 will be putting in the subsequent stages. So, the return that will be coming will be not really 2000, the final return could be f star n plus 1 2000, is it not? That is the optimal return from future investments in subsequent stages, that is what we have to calculate. So, that is how this table looks at this point. But there is one more thing to really think, that is, see, look here, we have 1000 rupees, but you really do not have these 1000 rupees in the subsequent stages. So, it is better not to consider 1000, but really have a value S n, which is the amount invested in stage n, right. So, because of probabilistic return we may not have really rupees 1000 rupees. So, let us have S n be the amount invested in a given stage. So, if that happens, that is, we have S n amount of invested, let us then redraw this table. So, when you redraw this table, then you have these investment options in this manner, that is, we have the return after 1 year will be S n minus 1000, because it is a loss of 1000 rupees and S n was the amount. Suppose S n is say 1200, what does it mean S n minus 1000? See, you have put 1000 in the investment, it has loss. So, entire 1000 rupees are gone, but you have 1200. So, the remaining 200 will be with you, is it all right? That is why it is S n minus 1000. I hope you understand. And here it will be then S n plus 1000. So, in the option A, if S n amount is invested after 1 year, the return will be S n minus 1000. After 1 year here, the return will be S n plus 1000. In option B case, it will be S n and S n plus 1000, right. So, these are the different returns after 1 year. Now, after 1 year, that means you are from nth stage, you have now come to n plus 1, n plus 1th stage. So, you will be again making further investment in subsequent stages. What is the optimal return? Let us call it f star n plus 1 S n minus 1000, right. So, let us call that, so what is this item? This is the return coming from all the optimal returns from all the future investments, and the other one is also possible. The first one is possible with probability 0.3 and the second one is possible with probability 0.7, right. Now, the expected optimal return from all the future investments in subsequent stages, we know that how we really calculate what is known as the optimal returns, the expected values. The expected value therefore, will be the 0.3 into this one Sn minus 1000 plus 0.7 into Sn plus 1000. So, what is this value? This value is the expected optimal return. Is it all right? The expected optimal return in case of such situations can be calculated in this manner. So, what is really expected value? If we really want to understand, let us put it this way, that supposing I have a probabilistic situation and the probability really says that there are, let us say, 3 options, that you have put 1000 rupees, the return could be nothing, return could be 500 rupees or return could be 1000 rupees, right. So, there are 3 possible returns and there are each are having a probability values. So, let us say the probability values are equal, right. So, around 0.333. So, what happens? What will be the expected value then? The expected value therefore could be found out as 0.333 expected value could be 0.333 into rupees 0 plus 0.333 into rupees 500 plus 0.333 into rupees 1000. Why it is so? Because we have equal probabilities and therefore, the expected value will be basically 0 plus 500 plus 1000 into it should be the so 0 plus 500 plus 1000 divided by 3, right. So, it should be then 500 rupees. Why? Because they are all equally likely. So, we can calculate like this. So, if we do like this, that is our expected values. So, we can therefore obtain such kind of calculations and find out the expected values out of the thing. So, similar thing has been applied here, that is the expected optimal return from all the future investments can be obtained. Now, let us see how do I go ahead with such kind of calculation in further. So, let us come out with the stage 3. So, what really happens in stage 3? At the final stage, because we know that we usually do what is known as the backward calculations. So, at the stage 3, we have 3 possible options. What are the 3 possible options? Either we do not invest, or we invest in A, or we invest in B. Now, what are those 3 possible situations that 2 situations that can happen? Either we have less than 1000 rupees or we may have more than 1000 rupees, because you see stage 3 happens after we have invested certain money in the first stage and also invested certain other amount in the second stage. So, when we do that, essentially what we have in the first situation where we have S3 is less than 1000, obviously we cannot make any investment, is it okay. So, that means there cannot be any investment because the amount of less than 1000. So, it does not really matter whether you cannot choose any of them, there will be no investment in this if you have x3 equal to 0 and x3 equal to A or x3 equal to B, case does not arise as the amount is below rupees 1000. But if S3 is greater than equal to 1000, then here again no investment, because you have not invested anything, you have chosen that particular choice. But if x 3 equal to either A or either B, you can either get rupees 1000 loss with 30% probability or 1000 gain with 70% probability, is all right. And here either you get 0 loss with probability 0.8 or 1000 gain with probability 0.2. So, these are the different scenarios that can happen at the stage 3. Further, if I calculate, then we see that the second case, the S 3 was what we had. So, what will be the return? The return obviously will be S 3, because we have the S 3 amount that has been put and we have made no investment. So, in this case our S 3 will be 0. I mean sorry, not 0, it will be S 3, whatever amount S 3 we have had, same amount will be returned. Whereas, if S 3 is greater than 1000 and we have not invested anything, again the return should be S 3 only, because we have not invested anything. In these two, the case does not arise, so we do not take anything. So, what will happen in this case, where we have invested rupees 1000 in this case. However, this is the last stage, right. So, what will be the net return? The net return will be 0.3 into f star n plus 1 S n minus 1000 and 0.7 f star n plus 1 S n plus 1000. And this net return is basically expected optimal return from the future investments in all subsequent stages. But what are the subsequent stages here? Because please remember, this is the last stage. So, in the last stage there is no subsequent stages, right. So, the return that we are going to get will be these only. That means, this is the final one, we are not going to have any more subsequent stages. So, if do not have any more subsequent stages, then these f star n plus 1 S n minus 1000 will be nothing but S n minus 1000. See, this point is very vital to understand. This is happening only in stage 3. It is not going to happen in subsequent stage 2 or stage 1. Stage 3 is the last stage. We do not have any subsequent stages. So, any amount that we have got return is the full and final return, right. We are not going to invest it in any further, is all right. So, we can find out the expected value at this stage, and what is that expected value? If you calculate, can you calculate what will be that expected value? That is 0.3, let us do it here, it should be 0.3, yeah. So, it will be the 0.3, let us say, let us take the pen. So, it will be 0.3 into S 3 plus 0.7 into S 3. So, what is 0.3 into S 3 plus 0.7 into S 3? Yeah. So, it will be how much? Please tell me. 0.3 S 3 plus 0.7 S 3, how much is that? That is S 3 itself, right. So, that one part of this is that 0.3 into S 3 plus 0.7 into S 3, that is nothing but S 3, that is the first part, is all right. So, however, the other part, that is the 0.3 into 1000 is 300 and 0.7 into 1000, that will be your 700. So, that means it will be minus 300 plus 400 plus 700, right. So, there are two parts, one part is your the 0.3 into S3 plus 0.7 into S3, which is nothing but S3 itself. The other part is minus 0.3 into 1000, which is 300, and minus plus 0.7 into 1000, that is 700, and that value is 400. Is it all right? So, you can see that we can actually calculate the net return in this case, that will be S3 plus 400. Now, can you calculate the similar one for x3 equal to b? Please understand, this will be 0.8 times S3 because there is no return, and in the second case it will be 0.2 times S3 plus 1000. Is it okay? So, when that happens, this term will be 0.8 S3 plus 0.2 S3, that means we have S3 and 0.8 here there is nothing, but here 0.2 into 1000. So, it will be 200. Is it okay? So, that means if I combine them all, what I get? What I get is this particular chart, that is at the stage 3 calculation level, we have those two options for the stage. One is that S3 is between 0 and 1000. In that case, if x3 equal to 0, because you are making no investment, the S3 will be returned, right. If this happens irrespective of whether S3 is between 0 to 1000 or above 1000, right. So, irrespective of whether S3 is between less than 1000 or more than 1000, it will be S3 only. But if x3 equal to A or x3 equal to B, S3 less than 1000, we cannot make any investment. So, those two cases does not arise, I mean they do not exist. But if S3 was more than 1000 and we could make an investment, then the return would be S3 plus 400 or S3 plus 200, as the case may be. Is it all right? So, the important point that comes, what is the optimal payoff then under those two situations, right. So, out of these S3 plus 400 and S3 plus 200, we can clearly see that S3 plus 400 is the higher value. So, obviously, that is our optimal payoff, and x3 star will be A. That means, in the third stage, it is optimal to go for an investment into A, and if we have more than 1000 rupees, right. So, we have more than 1000 rupees, what we should do? We should invest in S3, all right. We should invest in option A and we get a return of S3 plus 400 and our option will be A. But if we had less than 1000 rupees, then we cannot invest any amount, and it will be 0 then, and in that case our optimal payoff will be S3 only, because at this stage this one is nothing but S3. Is it okay? So, that is how the stage 3 calculations will go. These values could be really obtained in the earlier stages, I mean subsequent stages, that is stage 2 and stage 1. You see, however, one very interesting thing will be important, that in stage 2, see in the stage 2, there will be really 3 options once again, that S2 could be less than 1000, S2 could be less than 2000, but more than 1000, I mean equal to or more, or S2 could be more than 2000, right, more than equal 2000, and there will be different scenarios. But what is very important to know in S2, in S2 we cannot really, like in S3, what we did, we had calculated the net return that is 0.3 S3 minus 1000 S3 plus 1000 and we obtain that final value, this simplification will not be possible, because that is not the last stage, there will be subsequent stages. Is it all right? So, calculations cannot be completed. So, what should be the calculations and how do we proceed from there, right? That we shall see in our next lecture, and we continue this problem in our next lecture. So, stop here, right. So, thank you very much.